Hey listeners, I wanted to make a video where I'm talking about what I believe was my first time experiencing true depression and knowing it was depression, while also cutting up my bell pepper and making omelet, cutting up my onions and bell pepper to make an omelet. Okay, you're gonna watch me cut up a bell pepper. There's PS4 sounds in the background. I'm not gonna turn it down until later. And yeah. Now I cook this any way I like. I normally would just do like this. I don't really feel like doing that though. I'm just gonna all that good stuff. So yes, so this all started back in 2019 when I was on my weight loss journey. It's probably loud as fuck. Should I turn it down now? No. Ooh, yeah. I'm realizing it's dark in here too. I'm not turning on the light. So yeah. Okay, so I put it on something that has less sound and stuff like that. So as I said, it started 2019, and I'm not turning on the light in certain things because I'll end up just distracting myself by doing all these other things when I want to talk about this. This was when I was losing weight, so that had to be about like 3 years from now. It's been 3 years. I lost 60 pounds from that. For the first 5 months of that year, it was all good. I basically had a workout regimen. I was doing the right stuff to do. I was hydrating. I was getting myself nutritionally educated on things. And once it hit around May, I had hit, is the right word plateau? I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I had hit that moment where I was getting tired of my same old workout regimen. But every time I would change, I would just procrastinate more and more on working out. And it had affected me. So when summer was starting June, I went to the workout doctor, all that stuff like that. This is not mainly about my workout thing. It's just led into my first time depression and all that. Went to my doctor, didn't reach my goal. I was supposed to lose 13 pounds. I didn't lose 13 pounds. I had broken down and cried, and the affecting factor is what I was taking. It was a certain vitamin. I didn't realize it was affecting my mood to bring out emotions I already felt until like after the year ended, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So with this vitamin, I took it every day, every single day, once every single day, and it was very much strong. It helped in my metabolism. It helped me feel a certain type of energy, as well as like it just helped in those type of ways too. It also reminded me to hydrate as well, because sometimes I would genuinely forget to either drink the right amount of water or just basically like stop drinking so much, because it would either be so much or so little. So after me breaking down that one time where I didn't lose 13 pounds like how I wanted to, I have fallen into the, oh my gosh, like how it was I was in bed often. I know this is not how all depressions are like, but for me, even when I would get up, I wouldn't feel like it would be worth getting up. Like I was thinking in my head constantly like, oh, I'm worthless. I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to do. I didn't have this, I didn't have that, I didn't have that, and I didn't work for it. I was 16 and I was thinking like I needed to basically have a driver's license. I needed to have a scholarship by then. I needed to have a job during then. I needed to have this, I needed to have that. I had put this like amount of stress on myself to where I was just like, I need to be doing these things and I'm not doing these things and all that. I had applied to jobs, they didn't call me back. Scholarships, I had an older sister, like, working on that with scholarships. And the driver's license things, you have to know how to drive. So it's like, and the one who mainly taught all of our siblings how to drive was my mother. And this was around the time when things were just not going right for her. Washing machine broke down. They needed certain things like from the store. She's a traveling nurse too, so she has to basically go to another state often to work and take care of a patient who was dying at the time. He's still alive too. He's doing a little bit better, I believe. But yeah, so I had this pressure on myself. I'm waving this knife around. I had this pressure on myself to get these things done: scholarship, driver's license, and job. And I was 16 years old. And it wasn't because I knew a whole bunch of people my same age had those things. I didn't even know if someone owned a car. I didn't even know what jobs some of my friends had. I didn't know that shit, but I felt like I needed to have all that shit done by that age. So putting that amount of pressure, I was thinking in my head, I'm just like, I'm fucking worthless. Like I was saying the worst shit about myself. And this is how I've always felt about myself, which is not healthy, but it was never to this degree. Like, I literally would get up and make myself food, and then I would just be fine, and then suddenly intrusive thoughts were just like, not intrusive thoughts, but degrading thoughts, like, why did you even get up? What was the point? What do you even do? Like, what are you worth anything? What is your importance? You just exist. Why do you only exist? You're not doing the shit you're supposed to be doing. Like, those were my thoughts in my head. And that was every day for that entire summer. No one knew that shit. No one knew that shit. They don't need to know that shit. Well, at the time, I was thinking in my head they didn't need to know that shit, because honestly, I hated judgment in a sort of way. It hurts more from your family, forevermore, than from your friends or just any random stranger. But I was thinking in my head, I was just like, if I tell them I have these thoughts, they're not gonna take it as seriously, or they're just gonna be thinking like, you have all this stuff, how could you ever be depressed, or how could you ever do this, that, and the third. But I just feel like shit. Like, it was more than just feeling like shit. How I was going through it is significantly more worse than that. I can't even try to over exaggerate it. I can't do that, because it was like, when I was feeling it, it's like how someone who would over exaggerate things would explain it, because it was even more. Like, right now, it's 3 years. I don't feel that way anymore. But I know during that time, my mindset wasn't clear. I was so out of sorts. Oh my gosh, bro. Like, also, I'm pausing this video oftenly, and I'm cutting this bell pepper too. I'm taking a long time cutting it because I'm talking while I'm doing it too. So multitasking, but I'm still getting it. Another thing that affected me too, I washed out my bell pepper, was also lack of sleep. Whenever I see something that honestly scares me or some shit like that, like if it's a certain movie or it's a conspiracy theory, back then I would say that, oh, I can handle it, I can watch it, and in that moment I'm not scared. And then a few days later, or as time goes on, I think about it more, and I'm just like, this shit is actually fucking terrifying. Like, this shit can actually happen in real life. Oh my fucking gosh. And then I end up basically missing out on sleep. So that happened on top of me having those feelings of just worthlessness, just like, oh, I'm not doing enough for my age right now. I'm just basically being like this, that, and the third. And I was also not in the mood to eat a lot too. So the times I would force myself to eat, a lot of times it would be at the times where I just felt the worst too. So I would try to eat, but then I would also not have the feeling of eating. So then I'm just like, oh shit, I don't even feel like finishing these eggs right now. Like, I'll be like that. And like, I'm not actually laughing right now. I'm just like, it was unbelievable how much of the stuff I went through, and I didn't even realize it was that as bad. It's even worse than explaining it. I'm not as good as with explaining things. It's even worse than that. Cause hold on. I already talked about appetite, right? I'm gonna just finish in with that one, because I paused it for a second because I had to turn my TV because it was about to turn off. But talking about with my appetite, the vitamin I took or was on, it helped my metabolism out. But after I had stopped being on it, I did not realize how much it would affect me, especially since I wasn't working out around this time too. It was like I've lost my motivation once I started having those fucking thoughts. So as time went on, I would get up and then I would drink water in that full bottle, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, I would eat an apple, and then I wouldn't be able to finish it because I was just like, I don't even feel like finishing this. I don't feel like eating anymore. And then it's like my appetite would not come until nighttime. But nighttime as well, I'm tired and I'm trying to sleep, but I'm not sleeping. So it's like it's just a whole lot of, and it would just, oh my gosh, I had to force myself to eat a lot of times, and those times were nothing. And oh my gosh, why am I glad? Those did not help me lose weight. I wasn't doing it to lose weight. My weight stayed the same. So it's like, it didn't factor in my weight loss at all. Like, I would just have no passion to eat, and I was like, I didn't know what was wrong with me. Now, I didn't say anything to my mother. She was already going through a lot of like stress and tough times. I didn't want to like worry her with that. I didn't say anything to my sister and whatnot because I didn't think she would understand me. Like, I just felt like no one would understand me. So yeah, that's like a common teenager thing, I guess. No, nobody gets me. Oh my gosh, it's okay, I'm alright, mom. Like that type of shit. But Yes, and so it's kind of just like I didn't say anything. So a lot of times my siblings would see me or my sister would see me. It would just appear I'm being lazy in my bed all the fucking time. When that my family knows me, I love food. I love eating. I literally was extremely excited to lose this weight, and I've already lost it. You know, I'm an introvert, of course. I don't go out often, but I damn sure love to go out and fucking eat and hang out with my family sometimes. So, you know, something was wrong, but they didn't mention it. And there would be times when my mood would fluctuate. I just get easily annoyed with some shit, and then I'd be ready to fucking cry. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now. You know, at one moment I was never fine. But at one moment I was, I guess, chill, not really even fine. Then I was mad, and then I'm ready to break down and fucking cry. I was just like, I don't know what's happening with me. And I wasn't getting what was happening with me. At first, I was trying to rule it as anxiety, because I know what anxiety feels like. I've had anxiety a lot of times in my life. I may not have been able to name it back then because I was younger and I didn't really understand that concept, and I didn't look up those type of things either too, because I didn't, like, my friends were going through things to where they had anxiety and depression. And I was thinking in my head, I was just like, I'm not going through anywhere near enough of the things they're going through, so I can't even say or coin this because I feel like I'll be saying it wrong, and I'll just be wrong for saying it and claiming I have that when I don't even know how that feels like. But I didn't know how that felt like. I just didn't know the name for it. I went through that oftenly, not depression, anxiety. So this was not anxiety. I wish it was only anxiety because it would have helped to know that a lot more. But this, I didn't know what it was. It was like I've never experienced it so intensely before. Now, I've had feelings of doubts when it comes to myself. I've degraded myself before in my own head, and I would have those unhealthy ass habits and stuff like that. I had times like that, but they weren't this bad. And this happened like a few months after I lost a lot of my weight. This happened after I had stopped working out as often because I got tired of my working out. This happened after I stopped working out, but I was also still taking that vitamin and stuff like that. This happened a lot after, a lot of it happened after the fact. And it was a hit me. It was like side effects to it. Now, of course, if you stop working out and you've been doing so great and stuff like that, something happened. I think it started right after I stopped working out because I couldn't find the motivation to work out anymore. Like I mentioned how I didn't like my workout regimen anymore, and I was thinking in my head just like, oh, why don't I like it? It was easy. I could actually keep up with it, right? But I realized it wasn't just because I didn't like it. It was literally because that process of me just downing and belittling myself was getting worse and worse and worse, and it started then and there. So yes, how did this all come to fix it? Dang, this video is short. This is the shortest I've talked about a certain topic. Maybe it's because I'm saying and pausing a lot. I'm sorry, that got out random. But how did I fix it? It wasn't fixed. School came around, and I was very excited about school coming. I was just like, yes, this, that, and the third, yay! I get to distract myself from my own head. I get to stay focused on some things. And now some people would be like, why didn't you do that during when you were actually depressed? My emotions were so muted in a way. Like, things that made me happy, I loved reading. Even at that age where I didn't read as many books, I still had books in my house that I would just open up, just go to any page because I've already read it and finished it, and I can just enjoy any page. I'll read it and I would still feel that happy feeling I felt when I first read the book. I could do that. I could be on YouTube or watching a compilation of a video game trilogy I already played and just reliving my favorite moments and stuff like that. I could do that, and I could still feel joy from it. I could not feel joy in the way I used to feel joy. It was like I would look at it and I would have no emotion. I wasn't even mad. I wasn't sad. It's kind of just, you're neutral. I felt neutral viewing things I used to really love, and I was just like, that's not right. Like what I mentioned with eating, I couldn't even eat to my full capacity. My mother cooks amazing ass food. I could not, even when I ate her food, I couldn't enjoy it to the same capacity I used to fucking enjoy things. And I was just like, what is going on with me? Like, what is genuinely wrong with me? And I was scared too. It was scaring me. I was just like, I don't know why I'm what's happening with me. you know. Now, where I mentioned off where it ended with school, going back to school, right? I should make another video about that. Just one class during that specific grade year just was terrible to go through. What I gotta say is that I went through that depression during that summer, and then I go to school thinking that it's gonna help me, and then I end up enrolling into a class that became one of the worst classes I've ever had in my entire school year, inside my whole school career. My every year, that was the worst one, and I went through that my 11th grade year after the summer of my depression. So yeah, it was a whole lot. I just gotta say, bitch, I was in the trenches a lot of times and stuff like that. And that's also when it's like I almost went to a point where I started resenting people too. No one told me to be so nice to people. No one told me to do that shit. I just wanted to be like that. But the issue is people take that for weakness, or people just, they're so miserable in their own fucking lives, they're willing to make fun of or bother other people's lives while going through misery on their own, because they say the pretense that they don't care, but they do care because they're not enjoying their life at that moment. And I understand most people can't control that way. It's still not right to do so though, to just bother people when they don't do anything to you. So yeah, so I went through all that, and I want to just say, like, this is not the end of the video. I want to reach over 20 minutes at least, because I talk a while and all that stuff. But this is also to say, like, not everybody's experiences is the same. I know that there are kids out there who are going through significantly worse, and they can't, like, you know, mention it, because at the time they don't even know exactly the emotion or the name of the thing that they are going through, because they are either way too young for it, or they're too, like, you know, afraid to actually look it up and be confirmed on their suspicion. And that's understandable. Not everybody's struggle is the same. Even when I explained my own, for the longest time I didn't mention anything, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm being spoiled, or like a spoiled brat, or I feel like I'm just being wrong in this, like, you know, I'm saying all this like I'm going through some real shit. And it's like, at the time I was thinking like, oh, this is not real shit that I'm going through, this is nothing, like, you know, this is that. And it was depression, maybe not like the highest level of depression for other folks, but it was that, like, you know. And it couldn't be fixed. Pandemic, I was saying, that's when it started becoming better, because yes, I had a lot of time to myself, but I was getting back healthy again. My mindset was getting healthier, you know, because I realized that there are people in my life I really care for. And you know, I went through that horrible ass school year with that one class just ruining my day every fucking day every time I was in it. Like, you know, pandemic gave me enough time to be back at home with people I truly care for and focus on them, and I focus on people that I didn't come to school for, or I just don't come in there immediately wanting to bother, or I immediately thinking I care for. I don't come into school thinking about people I do not, like, you know, interact with, or people that are not my friends, people that are not my relatives. Like, I don't come into school for all that shit. So to have people that I don't interact or really care for try to be in my life and bother me, it would sicken me. So I would be like, you know, this will help me have a healthier mindset when it comes to myself, my family, and potentially people as well too. So yeah, you know, that whole summer, it was hell. I don't even think I went into full detail about everything, because I really could. I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I would say to myself, because shit, it was triggering as fuck. I knew it was bad once I had already reached my weight goal, and I still could not look at myself and be proud. I was just like, I was downplaying my own work ethic when it comes to losing my weight. Like, I've worked hard to lose my weight, and I couldn't even be proud of myself over it, because I was still just belittling and degrading myself, and just not even just appreciating what I did for it. Like, you know, because hell, I would be appreciating like all the work my mother did for me, because she did do a lot to actually help me lose the weight, you know, consulted a nutritionist for me, like, you know, and a doctor, weight loss doctor, nutritionist, and other things. you know, would faithfully take me to my appointments and whatnot, and would talk to me about where my mind's at and all that stuff like that. Now, of course, I didn't tell her in full my mindset when it comes to my depression, because again, I didn't want to be judged and like told that it was just low grade and that it was not a depression and it just wasn't that serious, because that would break me. I don't need to hear that from someone I value and love and care for, because things hurt worse when it comes from people that you love, care for, and spend your day with every day. So it's like, yeah. Also, I'm speaking low-key low. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm cutting up my stuff. Oh my gosh. I want to cut this up even smaller. You wanna, y'all can see this shit. Y'all can see this shit. Oh damn, it's dark. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna point to it. It's right here. I'm gonna cut these smaller. My video just gave out on me. Okay, so yeah, you know, should this be closing? There's a few things I kind of want to say, like, you know, with all that, if you are going through anything right now when it comes to like your own self-worth and how you value yourself, you know, and you're at an age where you think you should be accomplishing so many things when some people don't even accomplish one of those things at the time that they're at now, like, you know, don't be so hard on yourself because you aren't, like, you know, you aren't working at this time and you don't have a car, and or you don't know how to fully drive just yet, or you don't have scholarships for college, or you don't know enough about college just yet. Don't be so hard on yourself. You are not the only one that's going through it, and you are not wrong for feeling this way. You are not wrong for, like, you know, feeling like you're just behind on everything. You will never be wrong for that, you know. That's the thing. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My camera hates me. I keep having to pause it so that it doesn't turn out and shit. But yes, you are not wrong for believing that you should be at a higher, like, you know, level of certain things, but don't think you're obligated to. That is the thing is, even if you have relatives that are making it seem like you're obligated to be at a certain point in your life when you are young and shit, you know, you shouldn't, like, you know, you thinking these things at 16, don't ever feel like it's mandatory to just immediately have these things at that age. There are people who are, like, there are people who are 24 who don't even have one of those things, you know, that you are reaching high for. And yes, you deserve to have those goals to reach it at that level, but you were young. You could, that's the thing, you're not immediately going to have everything together. That is the thing, is there are adults who don't have everything together. Don't be so down and hard on yourself. You know, you're living. You haven't even fully matured yet in various aspects of things. Like, even your frontal lobe isn't even fucking finished working and stuff like that. You know, so don't think that you are a failure for not achieving one of those things just yet. You have enough time. Like, unless you are going through something to where you don't, then still, like, you know, you're not a failure for not accomplishing those things right then and there. Even if there are people in your life who are telling you you are a failure, those people are not correct, okay? They know firsthand, especially if they're older, they know firsthand it is not that easy to get all three knocked out and out the way, you know? It's not easy sometimes to obtain a fucking driver's license, especially if you don't have any access to even go the fuck up there to get it. You weren't ever even really taught how to actually drive. So of course, you know, that's the thing is, or when it comes to college and stuff like that, there's some people probably in your family who haven't went through that, or there's some, like, to get scholarships and whatnot, there's some people who probably haven't gotten it themselves when they did go through college or whatnot, or didn't get enough of it. So, you know, yes, looking it up online and whatnot can help and stuff like that, but, you know, sometimes you want to know first thing to where to start, you know. So you're not a failure for that. I mean, shit, you know, sometimes it'd still be difficult for me, and I'm in college to get some of these things done. And with the job thing as well, too, you know, there are some people who are going to make you think you're obligated to start working right then and there, because it is a good idea to work, you know, to start out working and whatnot. However, at 16 years old, a lot of those jobs are fast food. Sometimes you get lucky and you don't do fast food. You can do retail, you know, you can do other things as well too. You can even work at an ice cream shop. I don't know if they accept 16-year-olds, but they probably, hopefully they do. But a lot of those jobs are fast food, and there are plenty of adults way older than me who probably not recommend that shit. They'll mention how they went through it. They probably would not recommend the shit at all, because it's not the greatest field to go through. It'll help you deal with people, but it's more than just stress. It'll open your eyes to how people can be in the real world, no matter what age they are, no matter whether or not they should be mature and responsible at the age and experience that they have. They'll still show their ass and basically, not care how old you are or how new you are to things. That's why with the fast food aspect of it, don't feel bad that you don't have your dream job or your certain job right at this moment. You're not a failure for not accomplishing all three of these things right now. I mean, shit, to be honest with you, I don't know why I paused for such a long time, focusing on living right now and enjoying the time that you have is so much more important. Because when you get to that age where you have to it's Godspeed, you just have to keep going, there's only there's no other way but up. Once you get to that point, you can't slow down as easily to just, enjoy certain games or certain TV shows and just chill out and stuff like that. You start working. I feel like, this is my opinion though, at 18, certain jobs, you can request to have 3 days out of the week to work, but sometimes it doesn't matter. That will put you on for multiple days, or they will put you on to as few days as possible because of just how their scheduling goes for and how many people they have for that work, So let's say you're working at a place that's fast food, even if you didn't consider it fast food, 18 years old, you could request for 3 days, but you also mentioned oh yeah, I can also be available if I'm absolutely needed to. That was my biggest mistake. They put me on for every day during that week. I was also in school too. They put me on for every day during that week, but that's common, I guess. That's common, so I'm not gonna complain about that. I was glad to be working extra days. Maybe not school days, weekdays, but I was glad to be working extra days and whatnot. But it was still fast food nonetheless. So yes. Oh my gosh, I got a little bit off topic. Back to being on topic, but that's the work aspect of things. Once you start working like that, and even if you don't go to college, but you're working to also afford an apartment and whatnot, you have to work a lot. Some apartments aren't cheap, especially in the area you live in, location and not. They can be based on income, or they could also, starting out to pay a few $100s, and you have to work multiple times out of that month to actually achieve that shit. And that could be monthly. So you're having to work so many days out of each week of the damn month to afford that stuff. And certain jobs I guess you pick the right jobs to where you won't have to do so much of that, but that's not the most likely thing, if I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not the most, I guess, easiest thing to obtain, an easy job that pays so much money and you didn't get a certain degree for it, or certain, you didn't know anybody that worked there as well too. It's not the most easiest thing, I guess. We're going on to college too. With college, once you actually get into college, it's Godspeed, you have to actually be on your shit, do your assignments. Some professors are forgiving in aspects of giving extra credit, but they're not so forgiving, and when it's past due dates, you will never be able to access that assignment again. That's how certain professors can be. And also with certain assignments as well too, emails, all that, you have to check those constantly. You can simply it don't even have to be for the class, it could be for a fucking survey, but it'd be so important that it could hinder you in certain aspects of things. Maybe not with class per se, but in other areas as well. Everything costs. You're basically paying to get education in a college, so scholarships will help, but if you're not able to get a scholarship, Pell Grant and FAFSA will help you in a lot of those things. If you sign up in time, you have to sign up in time. That's an important thing. You have to sign up in time. But you're 16 right now. Mainly your parent will have to help you with that. I know in certain cases they aren't able to, but some of these things, it honestly takes a while to educate yourself on. So if you're feeling bad that you don't have it all down at 16, it's okay. You're young. You have things that you enjoy vastly more at that point than you know, these things, sometimes it's harder to focus on things that just, you know, aren't the things you like, you know, are really hard to get and understand. Sometimes yeah. But anyways, and what was I on? I think I already talked about, did I talk about the driving portion of things? Getting a driver's license, all that stuff like that. So, okay. Someone can, of course, someone will have to teach you how to drive. You could even teach yourself how to drive on your own, but if it's not your car, that's also not likely as well, because anything happens and you mess up, you will get in a fuck ton of trouble for that, and you already know your family, so you know just how much trouble you will get in for that. I'm still cutting bell peppers. I'm so slow. But yeah, with that, don't feel bad that you do not have a driver's license, or you do not have, you know, any driving experience just yet. You are 16, you have, like, you know, you don't even just have a few years, you have all the years of your life. There are people who are well over 30 who don't have their driver's license and haven't had their driver's license in a fucking while, and yet they're still driving, but they won't tell nobody, though. That's the thing. So it's like, it's not the right thing to do, of course. Don't do that. But yeah, you know, you may, and I say this stuff not even just to say, like, oh, your feelings are valid, though. Like, you know, if you expect so highly out of yourself because you know how hard you work and you know how much you can achieve, then that's understandable why you are upset, why you aren't reaching the things you think you should be reaching right now. But what I gotta say is that if you don't reach them at the time you're trying to reach them, you are not horrible for that. You know, don't ever believe that you are. You know, and I say this shit like for 16. I'm saying 16 often because I was at the age where I thought all those things, and I was not in my right mind a lot of times. So yeah, but I keep thinking, should I conclude the video or not? Because I don't know if I have anything more to really say. I usually would talk a lot about these things. I feel like with subjects that I really want to talk about, but I also, like, you know that it will take a lot of thought and, like, time to explain it in the way I want to, like, explain it and articulate it in a way that's understanding. I feel like those end up being shorter videos somehow, and I don't understand that shit. Because how are those shorter videos with, like, videos where I'm just excited and on Twitter looking up like thirst traps and shit like that, looking up certain chips and, like, certain actors who are damn fine, and stuff like that. Those take about an hour or 2 hours. I guess it's because, like, you know, multiple sources to enjoy the one thing I'm looking up, versus, like, this video where I'm just talking for over 30 minutes probably at this point about something that's pretty serious. Of course, it will probably take a long ass time, but yes, I was making an omelet today. I was literally making an omelet, and it literally took me 12 minutes to finish cutting up the rest of my 1/2 of a bell pepper. Now I have the other one to do. I may pause it just to finish it and stuff like that, you know. But I also want to ask how y'all doing. Like, can y'all, like, you know, if y'all want to comment, y'all can, and stuff like that. Just about anything. I will have to say, though, if it is a comment that is just, ooh, child, it's just, like, bad, please don't, like, and by bad I mean, like, you're trying to be mean or insulting, like, of course that will be deleted. So yeah, it's always like, yeah, of course. But yes, how are y'all doing? How was your day? No one asked for this, by the way. I just wanted to do it. And yeah, but if you want to request for me to talk about other topics and stuff like that, I'm fine with doing it. Because yeah, you know, I'm like, you know, of course I'm fine with it. You know, I already got to, like, you know, I love talking. I love, in general, you know, just let me know about certain things. And yeah, I may finish my omelet off screen, but I may take a picture and show you. Should I do that? Should I do that? Should I do that? Do I want to? No. No. No, baby, I don't. But yes, too. Also, I want to do another video. I'm not doing one on Vampire Diaries. I was about to say I want to do another one on Vampire Diaries, but no, it's good. It's good. I can just say it in this one, like, you know, unpopular opinion for Vampire Diaries. I guess one thing is, they should have made it to where Matt at least was turned into a superior vampire rather than Alaric. Because I want Matt to be nuked. I was waiting the entire series for Matt to be nuked, bro. And he never gets turned into another supernatural being, and it fucking irritates me. Why did they do that? Finn from the originals died before Matt Damon. He did not Matt Damon. Matt Donovan. That's his name. Yeah. Finn, one of the originals, the oldest of the originals, second oldest actually, of the original vampires who are 1,000 years old, he died 2 times before Matt died, what, once, and was dead for a while. Like, bro, they should have just turned Matt into a supernatural being, so to nuke him, because I was waiting for that shit and they ain't never did it, and I'm so pissed off about that. Another unpopular opinion, part of this one, I would have to say, has nothing to do with Vampire Diaries. It just got to do with video game trilogies and stuff like that. I feel like PS3 was at its greatest when it had those random trilogies of certain video games. It was at its greatest. I want to say it peaked, but I don't fully believe it truly peaked at those moments. But when they had those trilogies, like, you know, the Mass Effect trilogy, Ninja Gaiden, what's another one? Infamous. What is another one? I almost cut myself. I need to be careful. It's not the right knife to be doing some fuck shit on. Oh my gosh. What's another one? Oh my gosh. I can include Naruto, right? But that's also on PS4. That's not just exclusive to PS3. Oh, Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi. That's another thing. I think that was PS2 mainly. I don't know why I keep mentioning PS2 and 4 things when I'm talking about PS3. I don't know. Just me. It's just me. I'm crazy. But yes, you know, it really hit its mark when it had those. It really hit its mark. But I feel like the third installment of a lot of those ruined it. It easily the worst versions, or the worst like installments to those trilogies, was the third fucking game. Those were easily the worst ones somehow. Don't know how. Those are easily the worst ones though. But yes, you know, and that will conclude my video for this entire thing. That scared the crap out of me. That will conclude my video talking about my depression. I don't think I talked about it in full-fledged detail. This is all based off of memory. And if I don't want to, I was thinking about writing it down, but then before I even made this video, I almost felt the ghost of a feeling of depression again. Like, you know, that, how I felt during that. And I was just like, oh gosh. I was triggering myself, and I was just like, okay, let me just do this off the top. If I trigger myself again, I will not make this. So, yeah. I think that's it. Should I end it? I'm not gonna say my signature line for damn near every video I've made just yet, because I do want to show y'all this omelet, and I also have to do laundry as well too. I may show y'all my laundry, like, not my laundry, but I may show y'all me coming outside and just doing my laundry. Should I do that? You'll see me dragging the thing along, I guess. Anyways. Little Rascals! That was my favorite! I love it. I don't know this show, but I'm wanting to know this show. I need to get to know it. Anyway, I have my little laundry pods, so let's get it. And we're off. Oh my gosh, a bug just tried to attack me. Anyway, there goes my laundry and stuff like that. Alright, let's get it. Okay, we've made it. I've never done laundry during the day before. I always do it at night. I don't know why. That's why I feel more awake at night to do it. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay, I'm heading back. I did not even want to show y'all how I be like doing my laundry every like for 1 week or 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. It was terrible. What sucks is that it wasn't even a lot of clothes. It was just, they just been in there. That's why it's just like that. Didn't smell any bad though, but it was just a lot. I don't know. I just fucking canceled out my own saying. It didn't smell bad, and it wasn't a lot of clothes. It's just that I don't like to wash them when it's been 2 weeks. I only like to do it like 1 week, but I always get so lazy to where I don't wash them for like until 2 weeks. So it's like, so yeah. I'm not gonna show y'all a lot of outside because I don't want y'all to know where I'm at too much. But yeah, this is my life. It's not most thrilling. It's mainly boring, but it's peaceful. And that's what I always aspire for, something more peaceful. It doesn't have to be adventurous until later on in life, of course. Anyways, that's going to conclude my video, and may peace be with you for an eternity. Woohoo!